right, y'all. Before we dive in, a quick heads up.
This show is raw, real, and definitely not rated PG.
We're talking about adult themes, sexual content, and the kind of stuff you probably don't want blasting through your speakers at work or around your kids.
So grab some headphones, pour your drink of choice, and get comfy.
Oh, and just so we're clear, we are not licensed therapists, counselors, or sex coaches. Sex coaches,
Sex coaches.
not sex couches.
We're just a couple of people sharing our lives, experiences, and sexy adventures, and ethical non-monogamy. So with that, pull up a chair and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Monogamy. I'm Adam.
And I'm Pris.
Okay, so today we have someone on the show who I've been genuinely excited about. And if you've spent any time in the world of sexuality, intimacy, or relationship content, you already know her name. She is the intimacy expert to literally millions of people. She's a sexual biohacker, a best-selling author, the founder of Personal Life Media, and she has made it her life's mission to help couples and really anyone have better, more connected, more satisfying sex lives. So please welcome to Beyond Monogamy, Susan Bratton.
Welcome.
Hi, Pris. Hi, Adam. I've been looking forward. I really been looking forward to talking to you too. I think I got sick when we were supposed to be filming the last, when we were supposed to do our episode. I was so sick. And so we're finally together. Yay.
Yeah.
I love to talk to ENM, CNM, poly, lifestyle, swinger, pineapple people of all kinds.
We are
all of the
thrilled.
above.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
are everything you can fit into there.
I think for a lot of people who go through the experience of anything kind of non-monogamy that isn't cheating, that they probably often go through different experiences over the arc of their love life. Because I mean, I've gone to tons of sex parties. You could, I've been in all sorts of non-monogamous configurations. As you mature, as you change, as you learn, as you experience, your needs change, and you want to have. Sometimes you have more energy. Sometimes you have less energy. Sometimes shit's going on, and you can't do what you want to do. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
to me, one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about this anyway, so I'll just bring it up right now, and that is that Tim and I, my husband of 34 years, and I, we had some really good mentors, and our mentors just said, well, we just call it open. We're just like open to whatever happens as we go through life.
Yeah.
I like
thought,
that.
you know what? Open is not a bad word.
So
it's kind
Susan,
of all
that's
encompassing.
pretty much where we are
Yeah.
in our journey. Because initially we came in with this very strict mentality. Most new people who don't really know kind of have this, well, I've got a ton of rules and this is how we're supposed to be doing things.
Sure.
And then as you navigate, it's
Mhm.
now we're just open.
Yeah, and as you screw up and you have to do reparations, and as you learn what you really want, and as you learn the rules the boundaries you created weren't actually the ones that made you feel safe. And
Gosh,
Yeah,
we could
that's true.
count on so many hands how
Yeah.
many times we've had that.
You said changing. I'm definitely there. I started very, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Nope, we're not touching that. Nope.
Yeah.
Don't put your mouth there.
We have always been like that.
the elusive draw of control that you actually
Yes.
never have.
Yes.
The
Yes.
intoxicating desire for control.
Yes.
Exactly. I've always been very hippie mentality. It's like love is love,
Yeah.
and let's all get together.
And I've always had to be
and
like,
she's
nope.
always the one kind of pulling me back, going, hang on a second. Now, Susan, I know who you are, but for my our listener base, just
Yeah.
for those who don't know, I'm kind of curious. How did you end up here? In the position that you're in.
What position would that be?
Well, right now she's just sitting.
As
so-
far as let's talk about positions for a second. As far as becoming the intimacy expert to millions,
Yeah,
what
okay.
was that turning point
Career.
that
Yeah.
brought you there?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if we were talking about career or just regular old lifey stuff. Yeah. So my husband Tim and I have been together for 34 years. And when about 25 years ago, we really had hit a wall. I think it was our 11th anniversary. And I'd been avoiding him for sex for many years. I never had an orgasm from intercourse, and I got tired of being a dumping ground for his ejaculations. I mean, like,
I love
what the
that.
fuck, right?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
and like all women in my culture, I grew up in a patriarchally, religiously repressed, sexually assaulted, shame-based, no sexual literacy, no nothing but horror.
Yeah.
And when I met my husband, I was like, ooh, he's a nice guy. He has a great dick. I love him. He's super smart and he's really nice to me, which was great. And he still is. And his dick is even better than ever. And he's 62 years old. So
Well, that's
Wow.
amazing. I love
we're
that.
going to go the distance, old mom and dad.
Yes.
But we just didn't know what we were doing. It was just the blind leading the blind behind closed doors. And so we did some therapy, and that was it helped with some stuff like, a lot of the trauma and all of those things that I'd been through. But it was really, we live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Where are you guys from?
Austin,
Yeah, we're in
Texas.
Austin,
We're in
Texas.
Austin. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I actually knew that. Duh.
Yeah.
It's the end of the day for me.
It's okay.
And you. Yeah, we did the therapy stuff and we did some personal growth stuff. But what really helped, because we live in the Bay Area, is we went to some sex workshops. And it pretty much just instantly changed everything. Someone told us what to do. We did it and it worked. And we're like, oh my God, I started having orgasms. And then I wanted
Yeah.
to de-armor my G-spot. And then I wanted to learn female ejaculation. And then he wanted to learn male multiple orgasm. And then we wanted to try a lot of sex toys and sex positions. Then we wanted to fuck some other people, right? Like once you get good, like it just reignited our relationship. Like we always loved each other. So we didn't know what we were doing. And, about that time, so of course we started asking our friends if they wanted to like have threesomes and stuff, and they're like, "Ew, you're disgusting!"
How dare
like they were
you.
ruled by that
Yes.
thought, and we were like,
yes.
"Okay, sorry,
That's some good dick. You're missing out on some good dick.
And so one of our friends said to us, "You guys, you can't just fuck the muggles. They don't know what they're doing. It's not going to work. You have to get into the,
Going on a shirt.
poly community. You got to get into the conscious community. And there's a group and we'll invite you in." Well, they invited us in and we're like, here's our people. This is nice. Everybody's fucking everybody. It really looks good. It's great. They're really bright and intelligent and interesting. And then we got into other communities, and then we got invited to sex parties and all that. So it was just really, really mind-blowing, expanding, fabulous. And we've done, like I said, every kind of permutation from, just long relationships, kitchen table, poly, long, like 9 years is that's my longest relationship that I'd been in. And we've also done just a night, a weekend, that kind of thing. But there's been one hallmark that really has been a non-negotiable that I still know is the smartest thing we've ever done to navigate poly. And I'll come back to that because that's where the question you asked was, how'd you get where you are? How'd you get to be the intimacy expert to millions? It was going through all those experiences and going, sex is so easy to teach and people can learn it so easily. And if they do it, it works. And then they're happy. I want to teach people how to have hot sex. And I don't want to be a therapist. I don't want to listen to people. I don't want to work by the hour. I'm a scale-oriented person. I don't want to sit in a room and listen to trauma. I'm not a trauma healer. And that's what a lot of the whole, I run a business mastermind for sexperts, educators, sexologists, kink and BDSM people, therapists, etc., in the sexuality niche. We run a I run a business mastermind because there's almost 100 of us and we collaborate a lot because we're constantly shadow banned, constantly censored. It's very hard
I'm
for
sure.
us to get our work out. As a matter of fact, I joke that the story of my life will be called SEGS, SEGGS. Yeah.
Right? Yes.
And it's only getting worse. But that's when I began dedicating my life to learning how to be great in bed, how to have super hot sex, how to write them down like recipes and teach people how to come, how to get off, how to touch sores, how to be a great communicator, how to just have a fantastic sex life. And I honestly think I'm very unique in the world because there are people who do kink, tantra, BDSM teaching. There are therapists, there are trauma healers, there are pussy empowerment people, but there really are not. I mean, like, I'm not sure that I think I might be very unique in that what I teach are hot sex techniques, sex skills. And I teach them with a particular flavor. And I call it heart connected, conscious, passionate lovemaking. So heart connected is what it sounds like. You're there, you're present, you're in love because poly is love many. And your heart is a muscle and it can really expand and be strong. And my love abilities in my 60s now are just so good. And I had a hard heart. I was a hard-hearted woman for a lot of my life from all the bullshit that has happened to me. And I'm not different, like so
I'm the same
everybody's
way.
had
Yeah.
bullshit happen to them. And
Yeah.
we're protecting ourselves and, all this stuff. But now I'm really, really good at loving. So that's great. So I like that kind of very loving sex. And I want it to be passionate. I want you to fucking ignite when you're in bed together. I just want it to be like, I didn't even think I was going to be able to be turned on. And now I'm so fucking turned on with you right now. I can't even believe it. Like, that's what I'm interested in helping people get to. And I want it to be lovemaking. I don't want it to be performative. I don't want it to look like pornography. I want you to be as slutty as you want. I want you to be ruthlessly sexually self-expressed, but I don't want you to take your cues from other people in the way they do things. I want it to come from within you in every moment. And so this is what I've worked on for decades, is essentially just learning this myself and then writing down the steps so that other people could have what I have. And it keeps getting better, you guys. I mean, wow, is my sex life satisfying right now? Holy
So you're
fuck,
pretty
I
much
come like so well.
you're Betty Cocker essentially. I mean,
Betty
yeah.
Cocker.
Yes,
They call me the queen of peen and an orgasmonaut, but I'll take Betty Cocker too.
You started
Okay.
saying that you write down these
I mean,
recipes
I'm
and give them out.
stealing
I
it
was
out.
like,
That's so good. Betty Cocker. I love it.
I found something interesting that you had mentioned. So at what age was it that you started looking more into poly, that transition started taking effect?
42, 43, 44, somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
About 2 decades ago.
how was the transition for you? Was it difficult? Was it easy?
Yes and yes. All the time through the whole thing for the last 2 decades. It's always
Okay.
difficult and it's always easy. It's
I
always
feel like
both.
Yeah, and I feel like if you have the right partner to do that with and y'all are both communicating, it's great. Quick little intro. We were poly for 5 years and I absolutely hated it. I did not
I
like
enjoyed
it.
it.
We were not on the same page.
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in relationships like that. He's my third husband and I've never dated anybody besides that. Like I've dated, got married, dated, got married, dated, got married. So it was very difficult for me. And I couldn't find the right center for that. And so I just said, no, we're not doing this. But now that was what,
That
5 years
was
ago?
2021 when we
Yeah.
stopped.
Now I'm in a different era in my life that we get to talk to lots of people, we have lots of mentors. So I get bits and pieces from everybody. I'm in menopause. I'm 40, it's like my sexual want is very different than it was last year. Like that's how fast it's going. Um Relationship wise, I just say you can have friends with benefits. And
That
that's
was our compromise because
don't call it the
I
P word.
I really I liked it was pretty much my idea to do poly. And that was something that we had talked about for a while before we actually made the jump. We were already in the lifestyle. And I said, I've got a lot of love to give, man. Like, I love everybody. And I just really wanted to see what this was like. Plus, she was bisexual and she had never had a relationship with a woman. And I was like, let's knock a few birds with a couple of stones here
Yeah.
and see how this goes. Um, my I enjoyed it because I got to connect with people, and that was I love connecting with people. It's the reason why I have this podcast. I get to connect with wonderful people like yourself. But the bummer about it was, and she'll straight up admit it, is she made it miserable for me.
Oh, I
Like,
was
she was like,
horrible.
I don't like this, so I'm gonna make this hard for you.
I did. I
And
did.
and it was tough. It was a tough 5 years to
I make
navigate.
everything hard. I mean, I can't help it.
That's true there.
I can't help it.
Ain't lying there.
I make everything
Including
hard.
cocks.
That's
right.
right.
She's very good at it. 2 thumbs up, maybe
Now,
3.
was your husband on the same page? Like, were y'all always like, I feel like Adam is always like 6 steps ahead of me where I have to be like, hold on, I'm not there yet. Calm down.
Yeah.
Were y'all always on the same like page? And I mean, I know communication, but I feel like one is always, what's that word that we use? Girl, what do I call you? Hypersexual than the other.
I would say that were we've had so many permutations of our relational expression.
I
God,
love the
do I
word.
sound like a Californian or what? Jesus, the shit that comes out of my mouth when I'm with people I can talk to, without, filtering or having to be perfect.
We
Right?
don't have to say segs here. We're good.
Exactly. There were times when one of us wanted different things than the other. There were times when the other person's relationship was stressful for the other. There were times when we were all feeling super happy and aligned. There's been everything has happened. Like, so all the things. You can't be in relationship with all these different people over 20 years and not have all the good, the bad, and the ugly happen. But one of the things about Tim and I is we have this funny thing. So our last name is Bratton, Bratton, Bratton. And we have a daughter. She's 29, Taylor, and she's well aware of our poly. She's been well aware of it since day one. And we didn't say much. I think she was like 21 when she said, "Mom, are you and Dad in an open relationship?" And I said, "Yeah, we are." And she goes, "Yeah, I thought so." And that was it. Like, she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
She just loves her mom and dad.
Yeah,
But
y'all
we
are
have this
happy.
thing in our family, and we call this little saying, we call it Bratton family prevails. And whenever the odds are against us, we just try really fucking hard to fix things. We work through things. We face our fears. We face our foibles. We face our imperfections. We talk it out, come together and try our damnedest to go for things. And that's our mentality in our relationship. And it's our mentality in our family relationship as well, where we just, hey, this is what life is. If you can't work through stuff, like, so in it to win it, lifetime partners, deal with what is reality-based relationship conversations, total honesty, bitter with a sweet, like,
Yeah.
that
Everything.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's what it
And
takes.
for us with the poly situation, she hated it so much when she finally came out with it and she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's always been my policy is if one of us says we have a problem and we don't want to do this anymore, we walk away from it. Our relationship's always the priority. And so I was able to put that on the back end, that want for poly. I just put it back and I said, but what's the compromise here? Because I need that connection. I need to feel that in order to even get sexually aroused.
Yeah.
And so the compromise was basically the friends with benefits situation where I can pursue that. I can connect with other people either as a couple or one on one, and I can have regular ongoing fun,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
whole way. And
Yeah.
so that's worked for me, and I think that works relatively well for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I we've talked about it. I said, poly would be a fun thing to
And
try.
it would be great, but I'm a very territorial, very jealous woman, even in the lifestyle. I just am. I'm a very um controlling. I'm a very controlling person, and I'm very controlling with my relationship. I'm submissive in the bed. And I always tell everybody that I'm submissive to him in the bed, but outside of the bed, I am not. Like it's very hard. Like we're great. We're a great team, but I am the controlling one.
And I'm the easygoing one.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, hey, you know what? Between the two of us, I can go with the flow.
Yeah.
This means more to you than
Yeah.
it does to me. So go for it. I'll follow your lead.
And one of the things that when you're talking and you make these declarative statements about who you are and the way you are, my mind, when you finish that sentence, my mind goes right now, because wherever you are is not where you're going to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. We run through a life of sexual maturation and relationship maturation, and you may well feel like your kind of base state is I'm submissive in the bedroom until you get to the point where you start to get a level of sexual confidence and enough skills that you also want to be the one who is in control, and you enjoy that. And then over time, as you do that, you become you can switch back and forth, and that switch moves very easily. And then you kind of can move into a flow state where there is no surrender, submissive, dominant, in control. It's much more fluid and dynamic and very flow. And then it seems to me like, and I've looked over the arc of many people's lives with regard to this. This is what's nice about being old. You have some wisdom and some perspective and some experience. And I think you move from being switchy to being in a flow state. And then you can you can get to places of ecstatic co-creative bliss together. Like that seems like it comes next. And then you can get beyond that to connecting to, and choose your word here, God, source, consciousness, Gaia, whatever you might want to do, intimacy into connection to who we are in the universe. I don't know what's beyond that. That's
Right.
the level that I've achieved now. I don't know. I want to know what's past that, and I'm waiting to find out patiently. Um, so right now, you want to be surrendered in the bedroom, but you won't forever. That's just where you are now.
Yeah.
And you might feel controlling now, but you won't be
Fair.
forever.
Very true, because I was way more controlling last
Yeah.
week,
Last
as
week.
opposed
Like
to
There you
she's
go.
literally
Yeah.
And
she
my
makes
point is
big
made.
changes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
You're not
No, it's
wrong
very,
there.
it is. It's a, and our libidos don't match sometimes, right? Because I am very, with menopause, I do go through my little waves of sometimes I'm in the mood, sometimes I'm not. So when I say like submissive, it's if I'm not in the mood, I'm still going to give it up, you know, because his libido is way higher than mine. Um, I'm getting better at it, but it is kind of, that's our little thing. Like we just, I don't know. Like I don't even know how to say it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I I can I can go I can come a lot in one day.
yeah.
And so in a given day, on average, we have sex about 4 times a day. Twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon or evening, and that's during the week. If it's on the weekend, which especially now with the podcast and going to events and all and the clubs and everything, we're constantly having sex. So that's very fulfilled. But on top of all that, I masturbate a lot, like
Yeah.
8 to 10 times a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but that's average. And I've always been like that. And the older I get, that's not changed at all. Like it seems to pretty much stay the same. I would have figured being as saturated in the lifestyle because of the podcast and because of everything that we do, I would have been like, it's like working at a pizza place when you
Yeah.
love pizza. I think I'm going to take a break from it.
Mhm.
That has yet to happen. And we're working on our
But I
third
do
season.
like what you mentioned. It's like you have to find that place, right? That I will say it's not boring in the bedroom. It's just it could probably be better. It could probably be more exciting
I only have 3 moves.
because I don't you're right. Like I don't know how to find that inner orgasm, that inner like I am in my head all the time with
Yeah.
I have massive ADHD. So if I hear something, I'm gone. If he's talking too much, I'm lost it. Um, but yeah, so I guess is that what you teach people? Is that how you try to get people to match at least their I don't know, what they want?
Would that be a part of the
Yeah,
biohacking?
is that the biohacking? Because I want to know what that is.
It's funny. I have started to move away from the term sexual biohacking because I feel like it's somewhat gotten co opted by people who don't actually believe in science. Biohacking is essentially a combination of sexual regenerative therapy all the way through to optimization of your genital systems and your orgasmic capacity. So, as people age, often men experience a loss of firmness and ejaculatory fortitude and seminal volume, and women experience a shrinking of their clitoral and labial structures, the atrophy of their vaginal tissue, a lowering of lubrication, incontinence. Both male and female bodies have a lot, can suffer from incontinence. Men can have prostate issues. Women can have, atrophied clitoral structures, which make it difficult to achieve orgasm. And so all these things can be repaired and brought back to life and even be taken to the next level of optimization through things like nitric oxide supplementation, hormone therapy, vacuum erection devices, acoustic wave treatments, red light therapies, stem cells, exosomes, platelet rich plasma injections. I mean, there's red light, photobiomodulation, lasers. There's a lot of things that are kind of at the intersection of longevity therapies and regenerative reparation types of modalities that can keep you having sex a lot longer. And for every 10 years that you can continue to have great sex, and I really want to call it orgasmic intimacy, not necessarily just penetrative sex, as long as you can keep having orgasmic intimacy, every 10 years, you add a couple of years onto your health span and your happiness span. I call that extending your sex span. And so we're built to have great sex that gets better, improved orgasms till the day we die. We can have great sex until we're 100 years. And it's just that we have fucked up food supply, a lot of chemicals in our water, and
Yes.
we're sedentary. There's a lot of things that are working against us in our culture today that do tend to create problems for people. But that is one of the things that I teach a lot, are all of these kind of intimate wellness treatments. Because if you want to have good sex that keeps getting better, there are 3 things to focus on. One is intimate wellness. And that really starts with, remember at the beginning, I said there's one thing that I've never given up on that is a boundary and a practice in my consensual, non-monogamish lifestyle that I've never wavered from. And that is regular and complete STI testing. And I am actually the chief advocacy officer of ProDX Health. They are the main testing company for the adult industry. They are the main testing company for poly swinger lifestyle, and they are also a mass market direct to consumer brand. And they do at-home STI test kits. So you get the test kits, they send them to your house. I'll have some sent to you if you'd like me to.
Yes,
be
I
great.
just saw something like that. That's amazing.
And there's some really crappy ones out there. So that's why I like ProDX Health. I'm saying their name again on your show because they're really good. And like, for example, the tests that they send, you don't have to go to a Quest or a LabCorp. You don't have to get a blood draw, no needles, you just put this little thing, this little tasso collector on your arm. It collects the sample, you send it back, you get the results on your phone, one quote unquote screen, not a piece of paper anymore. And you can share it easily with your lovers and all that kind of stuff. And they test for even some things that most labs never test for, like Mycoplasma genitalium, which is having a big resurgence right now. And the problem with MGen is that it's slow growing. So if you're with multiple partners, you won't know who gave it to you. And it is antibiotic resistant, certain strains of it. So you must test it correctly. And if you have to take the antibiotic for the antibiotic resistant strain of MGen, it's called moxifloxy, which is a funny thing. It can cause tendon ruptures. Like, you can break your Achilles tendon from taking that
What?
antibiotic. So you do not want to
Wow.
get that shit. No way. And so one of the things that we've always done is if someone wants to be sexually active in our polycule with one of us, both of us, three of us, whatever it might be in any configuration. I'm currently in a relationship right now with my husband, my boyfriend of 5 years, and myself. There's just the three of us right now. They're both straight, but we have a lot of threesomes. I like threesomes with two men. I like to get done super well. And so,
I love that.
oh God, it is so
Susan,
nice for me.
you know,
Forget it. Let me tell you now, you're going to be in the spank
you're
bank.
you're a sex expert and you are mega hot, which I'm sorry, but I think that those two should really
That's
go
it.
hand in hand. Like, I would love to learn so much from you. So I'm digging this.
I'm so glad. Thank you. I mean, how could a sexpert not be hot? You like,
Right?
I don't
Agreed.
think you're like a good sexpert if you're not hot. But the
I mean,
hot
I-
is
I
so
love
many things that
Dr. Ruth was wonderful, but she did not have what
No,
you had.
she was definitely
Yeah.
a pussy dryer. So, but she was right for her time. She made it more safe.
She
She was
did,
a
she did.
doctor and all that stuff.
Hey, she
God
said
love
what
her.
people didn't want to say. I
She
mean,
did.
she talked about things that people did not want to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're so
Yes.
lucky we have podcasts now like yours that are so much more helpful.
Back to the threesomes.
It is, yeah, we can go back to the, but I just do want to say that one of the things we do is we ask people to be abstinent from other partners, or if they're with partners, those partners get tested too, and that those partners have no other partners besides whoever's been tested in. So, for 90 days before we'll
Wow.
be
I
intimate.
love that. That is amazing.
That's how careful we are, because I'm not that interested in fucking around. I like long-term sex with people that gets hotter and hotter. And as long as I don't put my mouth on their genitals or have genital to genital contact, I can still have hot sex for 90 days with them. And then that gives them a chance and you a chance to go the distance, see if you like them, see if you show up together, see how it goes, see if
That
you're
is
willing
a
to
great
wait,
rule.
etc. And there have been times when I've made some, like I've been like, all right, I'll do a 30-day, but then I got to get tested 60 days after that and another 30 days after that, because the incubation period of a lot of STIs is longer than 30 days, right? It's 60 days, some 90 days. So it just requires more testing, and it opens up potential for getting something I don't want to get. And I don't want to get anything else, because over the decades I've had, I was given herpes 2. I already had herpes 1 from my mother kissing me. I have herpes 2 from a boyfriend who cheated on me before I was non-monogamous. I've gotten chlamydia. I've gotten gonorrhea. I've gotten genital herpes. And this is long before we had HPV shots, HPV vaccinations, which are fantastic. There's over 49 kinds of HPV now. I think they've accounted 49. I mean, so there's just a lot of stuff out there. And the problem that I have with it all personally is that it adds up over the years. So now what do I have? HSV1 and HSV2. That's what I have, and I'll have them for the rest of my life. And frankly, they create a higher likelihood of Alzheimer's or dementia. They can create trigeminal neuralgia and other neuropathies. So there's long-term downstream effects to this bullshit that I just want to minimize at all possible costs, which is why you can tell why I'm the chief
Yeah.
advocacy officer of an STI testing company, because I know
Yeah.
what the problems are. And so I think this is something that's very, very important in my polycule. And I just think that's something where I think people are woefully uneducated, even though we have such shitty sex education. One of the things we do have is this kind of like, you'll get STIs, but not enough real world advice about how to have good testing strategies for it. So I think that's the most important thing, is to understand how to test, when to test, what to test for, frequency of testing, how to manage what I call a fluid bonded group of lovers. We call it fluid bonded, and another phrase we use is screened in. We're screened in. So my partners were all screened in together. We're fluid bonded. We don't have to use condoms. We can have unprotected sex. Because we all know that we're not going to be giving each other anything. And that's the level of safety and security that I bring to my own relation, non-consensual, non-monogamous relationship management structure.
That's a great agreement to
Yeah.
have built in. Like,
And because,
you
a
have
lot
your
of,
own community that you've
yeah. And a lot of people are embarrassed to even talk about, like,
Yes.
we know people that have the HSV2 and
Herpes.
yeah. And it's not like, I was scared about it when I first learned about it. And I had to really like read and educate myself. And I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can imagine there's so many people who do not discuss it
And
at all.
I'm actually glad to have you on, Susan, because this whole conversation leads into I want to do a show that's purely on just that, on
Mhm.
STI,
Yeah.
STIs that there's a lot of ignorance regarding what's out there and
Yeah.
how treatments and things like that. So that's a whole nother show that I want to dip into,
Great.
that maybe we could have you
Yes.
back on for.
She's
Well, what we
Uh,
should do is have Dr. Andy Kolnick come on. Dr. Andy K.
yes,
He's the founder and creator of ProDX Health. He is the world's leading viral expert on STIs right now. So, and he's wonderful.
this is
Trained,
exactly
incredible guy. So yeah, I'll connect you guys with
that'd be
Dr.
great.
K.
That would be
Andy
great.
Kogelman.
I would love to do a whole show on that. I would talk more about it here, but I don't want to take away from you. But
No worries.
I the knowledge that you just dropped there, because
Yeah.
I think that is so amazing. As far as the fact that it's not just something that you're telling other people, you're living this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We notice that there are people who are considered experts in this sort of field who don't live it.
Mhm.
They know it as far as these are the case studies, or this is what I read and this and that, but they don't live it anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to see that I
Yeah.
mean, you're practicing it. You're in the
Yeah, that's
trenches.
amazing. Do you find it hard? I know that you have your long-term partners, but did you find it hard getting, like, being so open about it and finding partners to play with?
And I think one thing is that I don't actually talk about my poly or open relationship very much. I'm always happy to talk about it, and I love to come on E&M shows so I can really talk to my people, like-minded
Yeah.
people. But I don't talk much about it to the muggles, to the
Yeah.
straights, because um then they feel like I'm trying to be prescriptive for them, and then they don't like me, and then they judge me, and they call me a slut and a harlot and a Jezebel and,
Yes, we are. Thank you very much.
whatever, all that stuff. And I'm like, I have a real compassionate heart for people, and I don't want to trigger anyone. So it's a pleasure to be able to talk to the two of you in such a straightforward way, because it's a big part of my life and
Yeah.
the joy that I have. I recently had a boyfriend for about, I'm going to say 3 or 4 months. He screened in. He hadn't been with anybody for like 8 months beforehand. And I was like, oh, this is good. We got fuck right.
Perfect.
And it was funny because I was at a health event and I had met him. The year before. I'd spoken at this health event and we kind of had a little spark and he gave me a hug goodbye and my body remembered that hug. And when I went back to that event, I was like, I wonder if that guy that gave me the hug will be here. And sure enough, he shows right up in my field.
Nice.
And ended up having dinner with him and really liked him. And at the end of the event, I was carrying my bag of things that I show on the stage, sex toys I like, and all this stuff. And I had a couple of the STI test kits in my bag because I always talk about STIs because it's a big part of longevity. If you want to live a long time, you can't get a bunch of viruses and bacterias, And I just said to him, I am very interested in pursuing some intimate experiences with you. And he goes, me too. And I said, I have an STI kit here and I would like you to take this STI kit. And if you send me the results and you ask me out, I'd like to have a date with you. And we had quite a few dates over the series of 4 months. And it was really fun to be with someone who was 24 years younger than I. And he had pretty good stamina and, he had oh my God, he had a fantastic dick. I mean, had I known his dick was that good, I'd have called him right after the first time he gave me a hug because he had like a majestic.
That's why his hug was so good.
Nice.
Surprise when he took off his clothes and got an erection. I was like, girl, you got a sixth sense because I am definitely a size queen. I'm a giant woman with a giant vagina that likes to be completely filled up with cock. So I ended up having a really good time with him. And it was fun to see what someone in their 40s knew and didn't know and, that kind of stuff. And, just to be with somebody fresh and different. And my daddies who are in their 60s, my boyfriend and my husband, I own my sexuality. They don't. And I was like, I want to have experiences with this guy. And they're like, okay, enjoy yourself. As long as you do your STI testing, great. And I encourage my partners to have those same experiences. So what's good for the goose is good for the ganders. No problem at all with any of that. When people swim by and they're interested, if they can fluid bond in, I want them to have those experiences for however long they last. If I don't like the person, I feel like everybody has ultimate veto power in the relationship where if one of the partners is with someone that isn't good to them or is hoodwinking them or is dangerous in some way or is not trustworthy or whatever, the others get to say, no, not this one. Right. So we do have, right of refusal in our relationship, which not all poly people do. A lot of people
they consider it toxic.
It is so frowned upon. I posted something about that. I was like, I have veto. I can tell my husband, no, I don't like that person. I'm sorry. Yeah. And they're like, well, you can't tell him, but I can because that's our agreement.
I mean, for people to label, our way as toxic, it's like, well, come on, this is what works for us.
Yes, exactly.
That's interesting because the NRE, I mean, new relationship energy really kind of blocks you from seeing a lot of things that other people will see. And that's one thing that we agreed on when we were poly was I was that person that I would get involved with someone and I would see nothing but green flags. And I didn't know the color red at all. And I would always have her meet whoever my partner was at that time. And at first, when we were first navigating poly, she would just straight out say, yeah, that bitch ain't no good for you.
Yep.
And I would tell her, I'd say, you're just being the protective wife. Like I know that you're not into poly. And so I feel like you're kind of sabotaging this by telling me this. And then as time went on, I started realizing she's right. Like every time she's voiced that opinion,
She's got a good
I
sense of it.
She
Yeah.
does, and so
Good.
I would sit down and I would really start looking without the rose-colored glasses at what she was referring to, and I was going, "Okay, so it's not her being the jealous wife,
Yeah.
it's her
Good.
actually looking out for me."
Good job,
And
Pris.
once I realized that, then I started recognizing red flags a lot
Mhm.
sooner,
Yeah.
which I apply to us now and the friends with benefits and everything, like, that was a great lesson learned,
Yeah.
is to listen to my wife.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm the real I'm cynical. I don't trust anybody.
And I trust
I don't
everybody,
trust
and I
anybody.
love
And I'm
everybody.
trying to let that go, but I'm like, no, I'll just kind of leave it in my pocket every time I need it. But yeah, it's the flowy part of it is very
I value her opinion, so, like,
yeah.
even in the past couple days, there's somebody on, we're on that, app 3 Fun, and there's somebody that I'm talking to right now that I'm looking to I think at this point in
I'm
my
trying to
life.
not be the controlling person.
Yeah, so she's trying to relinquish that, but me personally, I I want that approval. I wanna
Yeah.
know that she sees everything okay, and she's like, "Okay, you know what? I don't see any problems with this," because she has a really great sixth sense about
Yeah.
that.
That's good.
So I've learned to trust her opinions, and that's been a great lesson
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah, it has.
Now, Susan, I'm curious about something because I did a little bit of research beforehand. There was some things that had stuck out to
Mhm.
me. Um, the expanded orgasm.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. Expanded orgasm is a lineage that I carry on from my mentor, Dr. Patty Taylor. She was a part of the Moore University, Morehouse School of Clit Stroking with Susie and Victor Barranco, Ray Vetter line, here in Marin in the 70s. And she basically created an online program that captured the 5 strokes of the clitoral stroking technique of expanded orgasm and wrote a little book that has 21 erotic play dates. They're called sandbox dates. That's her terminology that couples can use so they can learn the basic strokes and then they can do these different play dates in any order to bolster their skills together, both in having an expanded orgasm practice as well as just generally being great lovers together. And expanded orgasms, if you think about one orgasm, the orgasm that we in America think about really came from the work of Masters and Johnson, where they looked at orgasm with the kind of like climbing up to the climax and then dropping off the cliff, the refractory period. That is the look and feel of a male ejaculatory orgasm. And men can have full body energy orgasms without ejaculation. They've just conflated ejaculation with orgasm. And that's what you see in porn and that's what you see in movies and television. So that's what you think an orgasm is. More and more men are beginning to understand, men who follow Taoist practices and things like that are beginning to understand that they can become massively multi-orgasmic and that they can come in over 20 different ways, just like the female bodied of us. The Homo sapien, the human, we have unlimited orgasmic capacity. We can come from locations, erogenous zones on our body. We can come from techniques such as an expanded orgasm practice. Erotic hypnosis is another one. Female ejaculation is another one. And we can come from pleasure toys, tools, etc. It could be anything from e-stim, candle wax, kink, tantra, bondage, latex, sex toys, floggers, whatever, those are objects of desire. And so we're massively orgasmic. And what most people think about orgasm is just the little sneezy type of thing, the one and done, right? Like a lot of women will say, oh, I can't come from intercourse. I can only come from, oral, or I can only come from intercourse, or I can only come from clit strokes, or I can only come from my vibrator. I can only come from my air stimulator. I can only come with a finger up my ass. I can only come. And my answer to that is yet. Like you just haven't learned the new pathways. And so expanded orgasm, it takes that kind of one and done moment and it goes beyond that. You go from there to becoming multi-orgasmic. I can come 2 or 3 times. You can start to have extended orgasms. Oh, I can go into an orgasmic climax and I can actually take that moment of time and stretch it out so I can have a real long come. Okay, now I can take each one of those long comes and I can stack them and make them more intense. And that's what expanded orgasms are. It's a clitoral stroking practice that's very light touch right on the clitoris. It's had many names: the butterfly effect, extended massive orgasm, orgasmic meditation. There's a lot of people who have versions of it. Dr. Patty's version of expanded orgasm is the classic couple-based clitoral stroking practice that allows her partner to take her into ecstatic states of orgasmic bliss and intensity that go on and on and on. She could come for hours, but you don't want to come that long because you get tired and you get fuck brain for hours afterward and you need to take a drink of water and eat something and take a rest, right? But we can come for hours and hours and hours and hours. So that's what expanded orgasm is. It's a clitoral stroking practice that couples do. And Tim and I have done it for decades. We have a date tomorrow for us to do that. I put them on the calendars because we're both busy running multiple businesses, etc. And so that's what expanded orgasm is. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to expandherorgasmtonight.com. There's free reports there. Touching for Rapture, the power of peaking, which is a very interesting technique for increasing the intensity of orgasm. That's so simple, but no one teaches it. It's very interesting. I give it away for free. And what is
I'm
expanded
excited.
orgasm? Yeah. So the program is there, but there's also some free books. So that gets you started on it at least.
Okay. Yeah.
We're down to get started. I'll tell you that.
Good.
Outside of that, what are you working on right now? Where, what's coming up for you?
What's in your world?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing some speaking. I've been speaking around the world recently. And so I'm headed out to Eros, Spain and Barcelona. I'm going to speak at Sex Tech Berlin on how to come really well. And I just finished a new book called The Alchemy of Intimacy. It's at 10intimacy.com. It's a book about how to get through anything together. And it has the 10 rules of our relationship that's helped us do that. It's really good for poly people. And it also has a guide that has 20 questions you guys can use to talk to each other about all kinds of things to make your relationship stronger. So it's kind of one of my wise lady latest things I've done, 10intimacy.com, the numbers or the letters. I bought both URLs. And what else am I doing? I'm updating my penis pumping guide. I'm working with a new pump in addition to the pump that I've always recommended that's doing some interesting new things for penis enlargement, but also reversing atrophy. So I'm busy with that. And I write my Substacks, I write my newsletters. I've got a million things to say right now. So it never stops with me.
Yeah.
Excited to be following all of that. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign you off. Susan, this has been genuinely one of those conversations where I keep thinking, why didn't someone teach us this stuff years ago? The work you're doing is so important. And I think our listeners are walking away from this one with a lot of real homework to do.
Yeah,
the
they
good
are.
kind.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. You
Yes.
are amazing,
Thank
Susan.
you,
Thank
Susan.
you
This is
so
so much fun.
And hey, if this episode hit different for you, do us a favor, share it. Send it to a partner, send it to a friend, somebody in your life who needs to hear this. That's how we grow, and that's how Susan's message gets further than it would otherwise.
You can find everything this episode, Susan's info, and all of our other episodes, blogs, events, merch, and our anonymous confessional. All of it lives at www.beyond-monogamy.com.
Yeah, and if you haven't left us a review yet, now's the time. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Takes 30 seconds, and it means the world to us.
Leave
It really
a review,
does.
people.
Yeah, we love you. You love us. Let's benefit each other.
Yes.
And with that, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.